All right. Illini Basketball Podcast, episode 146. Coming off of a victory for the Illini, February 14th, 2023. Thank you. Yeah, I got to mute this TV here, but it was a victory for sure.
It was a
And,
victory.
Illinois getting the job done when it looked like that they wouldn't. I was very negative in this game. Rightfully so.
Yeah. A little struggle in the first half with the pick and roll. But that's what Illinois wants. They want to force tough twos. They talked about it a lot in the post game. But they kind of turned it up in the second half, and I think a big part of that was our players of the game. I went with Coleman Hawkins. We got more. Where are the Coleman Hawkins doubters again? Posts on Twitter. They get to do that every 7 to 8 games, so good for them.
Well, I think it's 3 to 4.
But yeah, Coleman, great game from him. 37 minutes, 8 for 13. The only downfall I think would probably be the 1 of 5 from 3 and the 5 turnovers. But 18 points, 8 rebounds. He had 5 offensive, 4 assists, and a block. I think it was his best game, I think, since Wisconsin when he went 6 of 9 from 3, which was on January 7th. So Coleman haters for a month. Steve's here. What's up, Steve? He says our 3 freshmen that are playing are just amazing at this point of in the season. I went back to watch Ty's rebound player of the game. Yeah, I thought you'd go with Ty.
Yeah, I probably should have.
But I think those 2 freshmen were really good. But I thought a big key to the second half was Underwood switching Coleman Hawkins to Mulcahy. Terrence Shannon was guarding him the first half. Coleman was on Hyatt. They made that switch. Coleman defended the pick and roll a lot better and kind of disrupted Mulcahy's pull-up jumper from 15 feet. So Coleman said after the game, quote, we decided to change some matchups, change some ball screen coverages, and not dwelling on the shooting in the first half. He talked more about forcing tough twos. Teams, they're not going to make those consistently, and that's kind of what Illinois forced them into. The only play that I didn't like was when he yelled at Dane Danger mid shot. I know Dane probably should have helped on that, and I know that's what he was going for, but to give up on a play was kind of not great. But Coleman's going to Coleman, so 5 turnovers, a few lackadaisical passes. You can't do that against Rutgers. Rutgers takes advantage of that. But I'm okay with pretty much everything Coleman did, except for the 5 turnovers. I think he only took 2 threes that were those Coleman threes that you don't want him to take. So I guess you take it. But I felt like he was more aggressive going into the paint. He had a nice little turnaround jumper at one time. Coleman said also after the game, he said, quote, I think the difference is some games, I'm not saying this is anyone's fault but mine, I don't get involved until the first media timeout or 2. Some games I go a stretch without doing anything. Today I tried to get involved. I tried to get a few shots in. I tried to get to the offensive glass, whatever, to impact the game early. You see a few shots go in. It's just energy and it's contagious. If he knows he's doing it, why is he doing it? This is what I don't get. But the media asked Underwood how you get Coleman going, and Underwood's answer was, quote, I don't know. I thought he got a couple of easy ones to get him going. We need Coleman to shoot the basketball. We need Coleman in an aggressive mode on the offensive end, and aggressive but safe. So he wants a safe, aggressive Coleman Hawkins, I guess. I thought he turned down a couple today that I want him to take. Tonight he let it come to him. There's nothing hard about it. That Coleman Hawkins is an elite player. So
that version of him.
Yeah. Yeah. I want him aggressively safe, I guess, is what Underwood wants.
Sure.
But yeah, you get Coleman going early, you see what he can do, and against the press, it's nice to have a 6'10" guy that can pass over. He does make some, silly passes sometimes, but it's a really good thing to have against tough defenses.
It helps Epps. Yeah.
And I thought there was the 1-3 that I was kind of like, I wish he would have took. He ended up making a nice cross-court pass to Matthew Meyer for 30. So Coleman, he just has to find that balance, aggressive, but still sharing the ball. So put Coleman in after the first media then, Bergie says. That's fair. But yeah.
My player of the game is Sincere Harris. I feel like the reason that I picked him over Ty is just because I feel like, I've given Ty a couple of them. I thought Sincere was good. He was efficient.
Yeah.
From 3, going 1 for 1, made the first 3 of the game when they couldn't make one.
Yeah, they couldn't make anything.
2 for 2 from the field, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers. Like, he filled up the stat sheet, did everything, a little bit of everything. Obviously, we all know how good of a defender he is. But I do think that Ty altered the game more than Sincere did.
Yeah.
But that's just because, like, Ty Rodgers is super athletic and rebounds really well.
They're different players. And it was nice, Sincere. We had that freshman lineup again with Sincere and Ty and Epps all on the court. And that's kind of when Illinois was running. I think Terrence Shannon was on the bench at that point. I believe it was Coleman, and I can't remember who the 5th was. It's been a minute. So,
yeah.
But and then, Illinois kind of breaks away, and then you kind of saw the freshman mistakes and those little things that they aren't calm. Sincere tried to throw that lob. Underwood said that he called Sincere over and asked, when was the last time we completed a lob? And Underwood said it was with Kofi. So he said that's the youth and their exuberance. I would rather them be aggressive than passive. It didn't hurt us today, but it sure did last Saturday. So
I think I think they've completed a lob this year. I think there's been at least one with like a layup.
With a layup, yeah. And I think,
which counts. I mean, what have we done?
Yeah, and I still think on Sincere's lob, I think Coleman tried to throw a one-handed touch pass out of that instead of just going up and grabbing it and landing. So I don't think it was that bad of a play, but there were like 3 or 4 there when Illinois was on that big 19-0 run that you're just like, okay, their freshman is showing. So it is what it is. It was still the biggest part of the game was when those guys were in. So Matthew Meyer, 33 minutes, 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3, 3 for 5 from the line, 8 points, 8 rebounds. So Matthew Meyer not scoring, still crashing the boards. He had 3 turnovers. I didn't realize he played 33 minutes, but apparently he did. And I think a big part of Matthew Meyer having a down game is I think McConnell was on him most of the game. And when you have the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year guarding you, it's a little harder to get up shots. So it's nice that when he's still not going offensively, that he's still in the game, getting rebounds, doing those things that help a team win. So Terrence Shannon, 31 minutes, 4 of 7, 2 for 4 from 3. He was 5 of 6 from the line, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks, 1 turnover. His only turnover, he thought he got fouled on. I went back and looked at that like 6 times. I don't think he was fouled on it, but I understand. Seems like when he goes to his right, that teams are better at picking off his dribble than when he goes left. He only had 2 in the first half, and then he kind of went off towards the end of the game after that 19-0 run. He kind of made some big threes, keep Illinois up, and was really good in that spot. But 15 points, and I'm guessing 10 of them came in the last 4 minutes. So yeah, closers close. So I'm okay with how TJ played this game.
Probably his best game since Ohio State by the numbers. Wasn't bad against Nebraska. Wasn't that? I mean, he's okay against Iowa, but in terms of efficiency, he shot 40% from the field against Ohio State. In this game, he's 4 for 7, right? So that's pretty good efficiency right there. And, obviously good from the line is a key part. I mean, he's been really good from the line for a while, but,
Yeah.
he goes 6 for 10 against Indiana from the free throw line. And since then, he's been much better. 17, if I could do some quick math for everybody here. So you go 9 plus 2 is 11, right? Then you have 12 if you add one. And then you add 8 to that. So that's 20, right? So 20. And then you go 6 plus 3 is 9. Everybody knows that. Then you get to 11, you get to 13, and then you get to 9 plus 13 is 22. So he's 20 for 22 in the last 5 games from the free throw line. And that is how you do math, folks. Thank you. But yeah, he fouled out against Iowa. So definitely a better game here. And honestly, probably the best defense that Illinois has faced in a while, if not for the entire season. So especially the time of when they were playing them.
Yeah, and I think that somebody said that Rutgers had held teams to like 59 points or something, and Illinois had 60 with 6 minutes left. I mean, they only ended at 69, but is there any better sound than when TJ switches a three? It's got to be the most pure swish I've ever heard.
The unfortunate part is that it's either that or it's not.
Or it's not even close. Yes, yeah. I agree. But his stroke looked good this game. I know he 50%. He didn't shoot a ton of them, so I'm happy with how he played, especially with how much he struggled the first half. So Dane Danger, 30 minutes, 7 of 12, 1 for 3 from the free throw line, 15.7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover. Biggest part of Dane is he got Amori. I don't know how this is Amori, but apparently that's what we're going with these days.
Stupid. It's Cliff.
It's Cliff. I got Cliff in foul trouble early, made him go to the bench, I think with like 12 minutes left in the game. I thought it was weird that Underwood went to a smaller lineup after they got Cliff in foul trouble. I think Dane probably could have dominated most of this game.
I mean, Dane would have had 40 if Cliff wasn't even there.
Yeah. And I'm actually surprised looking at Cliff's stats. He did play 24 minutes, had 14 points, 10
Did a
rebounds.
lot in the first half. He had like 5 or 6 rebounds right away.
Yeah.
So they definitely cleaned it up in the glass.
You texted me like 3 minutes in the game and you're like, Cliff has 5 rebounds already.
Yeah.
So it's good that, Dane was able to get him in foul trouble. He continues to show the nice footwork around the basket, kind of outside the basket from 15 feet and in. He just continues to be better. Dane said, because he was the other podium guy, he said, quote, "We have been really emphasizing getting the ball into the paint more. I feel like Coleman has done a good job communicating with me a lot on the floor, teaching me little things I can do so he can get it into me a little easier." I mean, he's 6'10". He should just be able to dump it into you, right?
I felt bad for the guy that had to guard him when Cliff was on the bench. That was
right.
Unfair.
Right. Zach says, big win. Let's destroy Penn State. Let's hope. Crypto's here. What's going on? Sorry, I'm late. No problem. Let's see. Where were we at? Dane Danger. And we were a little late. So, we tried
talking
to hold
quads,
off for you guys.
It's talking quads.
Stupid quads. Dane also said in the postgame, quote, "I feel like I'm one of the best bigs in the Big Ten." So
I read that as Big 12 at first for some reason. I don't know why.
That's because I didn't put B1G.
He might be the best big in the Big 12 or one of the top 2 or 3. I mean, I'm trying to think nobody in the Big 12 really has a dominant big. I think that says a lot more about what the Big 12 is than what the Big 10 is. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Underwood said of Dane, "I thought Dane in the first half was not just scoring the basketball, but they had to play 8 minutes without Cliff. Was very impactful." So
he said Cliff too. See, he knows.
Yeah, nobody wants to try to brutalize his last name. So Jade Epps, 3 of 9, 0 for 4 from 3, 0 for 1 from the line. everybody yelled sit down while McKay fouled out. So good job,
Yeah,
Orange
what the
Crush.
hell? I mean, seriously, that's the difference between this being an 11-point game and a 9-point
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. But, people, the Orange Crush doesn't care. You could tell on Twitter. They were yelling at people that were mad at him. So 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 4 turnovers. This is the most turnovers he's had since Wisconsin. Again, that was January 7th. He had 4 that game too. But against probably the best defense in the Big Ten.
Definitely the best defense.
Yeah. Your freshman's going to do that. I don't know who they gave the turnover to for that kind of lazy inbounds pass from Coleman. McConnell was just kind of standing there. I think they gave it to Coleman. So I basically say that they both had 4.5 turnovers this game.
Yeah.
So, but they found ways to fight through that. So not mad. I felt like some of his threes this game, he looked a little off balance. I know he has a weird stroke from 3 sometimes, but it looked a little off balance at times, just not set. Continues to, have those floaters that Epps has, so I'm okay with that. And Underwood said it, and this is probably the biggest thing Jaden did today, or that day. What was it, 8 weeks ago? He said, quote, Jaden didn't have one of his better days offensively, but Jaden was like glue on Spencer. Cam Spencer was held to 1 of 5 shooting. He only took 1 3, missed it, 2 points. So,
yeah, I mean,
if you're not going to score, play defense.
You look at Cam Spencer's games this year, very few games without double-figure scoring. He had 3 against Miami, 3 against Indiana, 4 against Seton Hall, 3 against Penn State, 2 against Illinois. So other than that, he's pretty much either been a double-figure guy or 7 to 10 points. Yeah. And he's also scored 20-plus on multiple occasions. So especially with, Illinois' versatility on the defensive end, I think they're able to they don't have to switch on ball screens like they were early in the season, but they can switch matchups and adjust at halftime if they need to. And I think that they did that well in this game. It also helps that Rutgers has length, but there's not really, they don't really have any truly unguardable.
Yeah.
McConnell and Mulcahy can make some mid-range jumpers, and they killed Illinois in a lot of ways with that. And Cliff can get some buckets. But other than that, I mean,
those guys aren't going to go for 20 plus usually.
No.
And
that's probably Rutgers' biggest issue or flaw going into the tournament. And also, I think obviously losing Mawat Mag to the ACL is huge because that's a slashing forward who can defend and guard a bunch of positions and can also get some points if needed. Their bench is pretty thin now, so it's a tough spot for them.
Yep. Mark says Coleman developed a short-range game. I mean, I think if Coleman was more aggressive, he probably could have done this all year. We'll see if he continues to do it or not. Who knows? Ty Rodgers, probably runner-up player of the game. I mean, Ty was huge in this game.
He was snubbed.
Super impactful. Some people pick Sincere Harris. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm trying to, spread the love. Jeez.
It's all good. 17 minutes. He was 1 of 4 from the field, 2 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, no turnovers. He seems to be getting more aggressive on the offensive end too. But the rebounding, he contested a 15-foot jumper, came down, got a rebound over Cliff. So it's just those little things. And when you play hard like that, you're going to get time. And Underwood is giving him the time that he deserves right now. I put that the lineup was Rodgers, Epps, Harris, and Hawkins and Shannon, but I don't think that was the lineup because Underwood said something about having TJ on the bench for a while, but I could be wrong there. When he gets down low on the offensive side, I wish that he would, try to find somebody to pass it to. He was doubled one time. I thought he got fouled, but that's just me. But he's just been so good on the rebounding aspect that you're going to take him being a little aggressive on the offensive end, trying to get his feet wet on that side. So Coleman talked about Ty after the game. He said, quote, Ty can go out and guard any matchup. Jaden and Sincere are fighting their asses off to get over ball screens. It's great to see them take on challenges like Paul McGahee, bigger guards in our league like that. It's good to see them buy into that. So I guess he was talking about all the freshmen, not just Ty there. Underwood said, when I need rebounds, I go straight to him, nobody else. Get in, get in. He dominates our practices every day. He has been dominant on the season. He is a guy that has an uncanny knack for finding the basketball. If you notice, most of his rebounds come above the rim, and there is an art to that. I love what he is doing. Gosh darn, I love what he is doing.
Yeah, I got some stats here written down just now. Rebounding.
Okay.
Ty Rodgers, last 5 games, 29 rebounds. So that's just under 6 a game. Last 7 games, 38 rebounds. Last 9 games, 46 rebounds. And the thing that's holding him back from having better numbers than that is that he's got 3 or 4 games with 1 rebound in those stretches. But other than that, he's getting 6 or 7, 8.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, rebounding, he can rebound like that and defend like that. He's going to play. He might have the highest motor of anybody on the team. I think it's between him and Sincere. So it helps. It helps.
Yeah, and that's I think when you have those guys on the court, I feel like the team runs better too because they get defensive plays, they get rebounds, they get out and go. Maybe not the best offensive lineup that Illinois has, but when you can outrun the opponent and make defensive stops and limit them to one shot, that plays a big part in the game. So Crypto says, anyone know why RJ got suspended? No idea. My guess is that he was late to a practice. That's my guess. So we'll see if he's still suspended tonight. I feel that'll tell us more. We got to see Luke Goody. Luke Goody comes in for 5 minutes. He takes an RJ-like 3. And that's kind of it. But we got to see him on the court. He got a big standing ovation. We'll see, what time gives us and what happens with him. Coleman spoke of it. He said, you have to build up to playing a season, and boom, like that, your season is taken away from you. It's tough on you mentally and physically. It was good to see Luke back. Underwood also said it's nice to see Luke get out there. He's going to be huge for us down the stretch. So
see ya, RJ.
Yeah. I mean, maybe RJ saw Luke coming back and thought, I just won't care anymore, Didn't show up to practice, and
could be.
There it is. I honestly don't know. So go ahead and spread rumors that I said he was late to a practice.
Yeah, go ahead. Definitely.
Get me out there.
Does Luke Goody play more than 5 minutes tonight?
I don't know.
Does he make a 3 tonight?
Yes.
It's a lot to ask an Illinois player to make a 3.
I'm going to say he plays less than 10, but he makes a 3.
Does RJ make a 3 tonight?
Does RJ play tonight?
Yes.
Is he still suspended? Does anybody know that?
Goody plays 7. RJ will play like 10.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Sounds good. Other notes and quotes. Illinois had a lead at 6-5. Didn't regain the lead till 48-47, and then went on a 19-0 run over 10 minutes. In that stretch, Hawkins made 4 consecutive shots, which is pretty awesome. Rutgers also went super cold in that time. They were 0 for 15 during that run. And again, a big part of that was Ty Rodgers crashing boards, not giving second opportunities. All those things add up to this. And over the last 15 minutes, I saw that Rutgers was 5 of 19 shooting. So at the 15-minute mark, I think, is when Ty checked in, and he checked out at 5:20 to do that 19-0 run or whatever it was. So Coleman, again, talk about tough twos. He said, when you force tough twos and no threes, you let a guy like Cam Spencer get going, that could be the night. When you force those and fight over tough ball screens, you feel like you are unbeatable. I feel very confident in our defense. And then Underwood was asked about keeping those guys in and, what that does. And he said, it's a catch-22 of being a coach. How long do you let it run? And I let it run for a long time before I made a substitution. We had TJ on the bench for a good bit. Ty was grabbing every rebound. And I think that's what makes us really good now is those freshmen growing up. I thought it was a huge part of the game today. And that's what Illinois was worried about. Everybody was kind of worried about the freshmen coming into the season. And it seems like the 3 freshmen that Illinois originally recruited could handle this. No shots.
Sky Clark is a good rebounder.
Fergie says violation of team rules for RJ will be in uniform. Yeah, I know team rules, but Bergie says that he doesn't believe that he will play from his impressions of Underwood. I didn't listen to Underwood because all he did was talk about the Chiefs. So
yeah, who gives a shit about that?
Illinois ended up winning the rebounding battle, which is surprising because at half it was 15-4. Illinois ended up out rebounding Rutgers, if my math is correct, 36-20 in the second half. So a big part of that, again, was Ty Rogers coming in. Illinois with 17 turnovers. Ouch.
Yeah, what can you
do? 2 of the guys had 9. So other than that, they weren't too bad. 7 blocks, typical Illinois game. And that was with Matthew Meyer having 0 blocks. So
nobody could shoot and get, they couldn't get shots off on him. He was locking them down.
Yeah. Peichel said, quote, they bothered us around the rim, but you almost have to go through them. You've got to try to dunk the ball. I didn't know they had a lot of high flyers at Rutgers, but even if you get a charge or something like that, you've got to finish with tremendous toughness around the basket. So Jeremy says, what's up? What's going on, Jeremy? In Brats, RJ did just lose all his Puerto Rican friends off the team. They were a gang.
Padilla and Plummer? Are they? I think that's, yeah.
Trent Frazier was semi-Puerto Rican, wasn't he?
So that's 3, yeah. I mean, it is also February, so I feel like maybe, I don't know. I just think he's just bad.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with RJ. I don't think we're ever going to really know what happened. So
he's better than Chris Murray. Right, guys?
Right?
Everybody said that was, hey, Chris Murray's not a breakout candidate. It's RJ Melendez, which I did not say it was RJ Melendez, but I was on the Chris Murray won't be as good as Keegan Murray, which I don't think he has been, but he's been good.
He's been good.
Breakout
type. He's actually been better than I thought he was going to be.
So. And I didn't believe that RJ was going to break out in the same sense that everybody else did. I thought there was a chance, but then I remembered, oh, wait, it's Illinois. God forbid anything goes right here.
Well, the thing is, like, Chris Murray played a lot last year.
Yeah, and RJ did not as much as he should have.
Yeah. So, Underwood post game, I got 3 things here. I opened it up with quote, started a little rusty, felt really good at half, to be honest with you, with Terrence and Matt. I think they had 1 field goal between them and only be down 4. Sincere hit a 3 to crack the seal. Very seldom in this league do you go on a 19-0 run and hold a team without a basket for 11 minutes. I thought our defense was terrific. I thought our shot blocking impacted the game at the rim. I thought Ty Rogers, Sincere, we did it with a lot of freshmen on the floor. I thought the group was outstanding. Crypto says I was in the RJ breaking out camp. Yeah, I think everybody was. So don't feel bad about that. Underwood also said, I thought we forced Rutgers basically into a middle ball screen game. Basically just 2-on-2 where Spencer wasn't even part of the second half. All they did was high ball screen, and that to me is playing into our hands. We forced a lot of hard shots and a lot of contested shot. Illinois sucked in the high ball screen in the first half, by the way. And this, like I said, I think the switch of Coleman on Mulcahy really changed how this team played against that ball screen. Of course, he talked about the suspension. We don't need to talk about that. We already did. And then Underwood was asked about Ubin. They had a big not memorial, I don't know, christening, and named the floor and stuff. And Brad said, quote, "We are here to win national championships. Winning's really hard, and that's my goal." So
yeah, it's never going to happen.
we're here to win national championships.
Let's just throw this out there. RJ Melendez is going to enter the transfer portal no less than 60 seconds after the season ends.
They can do it on. They have to do it like the first week of Selection Sunday, right? Or like that. Don't they have? Didn't they like lessen the time that you?
None of that matters. He's going to do it immediately.
Do you think that he plays in the postseason?
No.
Plummer and Curbelo.
Curbelo is a terrible basketball player.
Wow.
Well, I mean, St. John's beat Providence, and he got benched, didn't even play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah. So, yeah, I felt like this was a game Illinois really needed to win. They ended up, you pull your hair out the first half, make adjustments second half, and 19-0 runs. We haven't seen a lot of that from Illinois, big runs like that. So,
yep,
it's nice to see. Yep. I agree with Ethan, RJ, in the portal. I've been saying that since Las Vegas.
RJ to FAU. How about that?
Like when Underwood was chewing him out in Vegas, I told my wife that he is not
FAU.
Here.
FAU. That's where he's going. And if it's not FAU, then it might be like Florida State, maybe. I feel like it's going to be a Florida school.
Florida school, yeah.
Similar to the Omar Payne situation, except he went to Jacksonville, and I thought he might go somewhere a little bit better than that. Was Omar Payne on the team last year, or was that the year before? He was on the team last year, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Jeez, time's really flies by.
Because
I think he was, yeah.
Because Underwood said Kofi and Payne. And I'm like, was Payne? So I didn't even put that in there because I'm like, Payne didn't play last year, did
Well, the backup five, I guess, the year before was probably Georgie, right? So
yeah.
And Lieb, who was my breakout pick this year, he has broken out technically. I mean,
in true Lieb fashion.
Yeah, dominant. He might go for 20 and 10 tonight. All right, Illinois at Penn State tonight on ESPNU, 6:00 Central start. Illinois 17-7, 8-5 in the Big Ten. Penn State sputtering a little bit, 14-11, 5-9 in the Big Ten. They're 4-8 in the new year. They've lost 4 straight, 6 of 8 overall. They're 67th in the net. So this is teetering, but it is a quad 1 opportunity for Illinois tonight. And at the end of the day, it could end up being a quad 2 because I don't know if Penn State will stay in the top 75 like they need to.
Right.
For it to be a quad 1. They shot 12 for 26 from 3 against Maryland, but lost. Only made 2 free throws in that game. That really killed them there. But they're going to make threes. They've made a lot of threes. Even in these last 4 losses they've been making, I think they made double-digit threes in 2 or 3 of the 4 games. But they're beatable. Defensively, they're not really any good at all. You kind of know what you're going to get against them on offense. I think you would think that Brad Underwood has learned by now. This will be the 3rd time facing Pickett on Penn State. You got to think they could figure something out.
Got to find a way to figure it out.
The big problem is that they just have literally so many shooters around them.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense that this team is 5-9. They should be 7-7 probably at best, but still 5-9.
Yeah, I went back and looked at their last 5 games, which I believe are 1-4 in their last 5. They're shooting 40.6% from 3 over those 5. Illinois over their last 5, shooting 15.4.
But what's Illinois' record in the last 5? 3-2?
Oh, wait, hold on. That was wrong. 24.4% over their last
Still
5.
Bad.
And Illinois has given up 35% from 3. For a team that says we force a lot of hard 2s, they're still letting people shoot 35% from 3. So
Illinois has the 82nd ranked defense in terms of 3-point percentage allowed and the 5th best 2-point percentage defense.
Steve says Penn's about to get spanked for that earlier game. Yeah, this is revenge week for Illinois, right? They play Penn State tonight. They play Indiana Saturday. So this is, and they're
We
both
get a
away
Brad Underwood
games.
special.
So
Give
Penn
me the
State
Brad
will be
Underwood.
fighting for their tournament lives, Cryptos. That's the only thing that scares me. Losing 4 in a row.
But that's just delusion. I don't think they have any chance to get in the tournament.
Yeah, but I think I think that Brad has to have this figured out by now, right?
This feels like it could or could not. It's a different season. They don't have the All-American types that they did the last few years, but this feels like the makings of a potential Brad Underwood February special where they win both of these games.
Yeah.
It just feels like it could be that way. I'm not saying it will be that way, but it feels like there's a chance.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say is the sixth game, the game before their 1-5 record, they played Rutgers and shot 15% from three and only scored 45 points. So if you can keep them from shooting threes or at least making threes,
I'd love to know
second chance opportunities.
I'd love to
you got
know
a good chance.
what Illinois is shooting from three since January 7th. I would love to know that. Just because like their record, they're 8-2 since January 7th, but I bet they're shooting under 30 from three. And then you have Penn State, who is really good from three and has lost a lot of games. So I think it probably says a lot about Illinois' being as good as they are from inside the 3-point arc. They're 16th in the country in 2-point percentage. So
keep doing that.
Illinois might be the best team in the country if there was no 3-point line, honestly. Like, they're really good at defending that area, and they're really good at making shots in that area. They're top 16 in both categories on both ends at 2-point percentage. So abolish the 3-point line, take us back to the 70s, and you might have something here. You might be 24-0. Who knows? Let's see. Illinois' offense, though, is much better than it was when they lost to Penn State by 15 in December. So that's good.
Yeah.
Brad Underwood against Penn State while at Illinois, kind of surprising that he's 4-4. But I think he kind of forgets some of the really early season, first couple seasons of Underwood and how bad the team was. A couple of those losses coming from that.
That was Illinois' only game scoring under 60 was the Penn State game. Is that correct? If I'm looking at this right, they scored 60 against Northwestern, but
yeah, because 87, 86, 103, 79, 61, 92, 73, 66, 85, 59, 68, 71, 85, 60, 79, 76, 75, 78, 65, 69, 61, 72, 79, 69. Those are the points they scored.
Okay.
I had to do some weird,
that was interesting.
Going at different angles here because sometimes on the right is their score if they lose, and the left is them winning. So you gotta make sure you get everything right there. So, yeah, I mean, from an offensive perspective, they are much better now than they were on that brutal December 10th day that sucked a lot. Which Illinois in that game was down 47-38 at the half, 47 points allowed in the first half.
Yeah.
And it got even worse because going into the last 10 minutes of the game, it was 63-47.
And that was switching defense still, right?
Yep.
So
things are a little different. Illinois' lineup in that game was Sky Clark, RJ Melendez, Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, Coleman Hawkins. So they literally have three guys still starting, and they have a center in there and a different point guard.
Yeah.
Sky was good in this game, though. 11 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 for 6 from 3. So it wasn't his fault in this game. I'll tell you that right now to everybody's face. Brad Underwood, 4-4 against Penn State at Illinois. 4-1 since 2019-20. 2-1 at Penn State. They beat Penn State in February of 2020 when Penn State was ranked number 9. This was obviously the COVID canceled tournament year where Illinois probably is like a 7 seed, 8 seed that year. And Penn State would have been like a 3 seed probably. They're plus 42 in their 4 wins over Penn State, but minus 60 in the 4 losses. So, I mean, they did get blown out twice in the early years. Like they lost by 20 and by like 17 in the first couple of years where Illinois was just really bad under Brad. Also, I came across this while I was looking at the head-to-head stuff. Did you know that Illinois is 24-1 against Butler since 1949, 1950? Not a lot of people know that.
I did not know that.
So I'd like for them to schedule a game against them next season. The only loss to Butler in program history, or I guess since 1949-50, is 1960 to 61. They haven't played since 2012, 2013, and before that, I don't think they'd played since the 70s. I believe Butler was an independent school at that time, and they just played like every year in the 60s and 70s. So kind of weird, but when I was looking through Illinois' head-to-head against everybody, I was like, 24-1 against Butler. What the hell happened there? And Butler in 2012-13, were they any good? I mean, that's kind of – they were okay, yeah.
I would say that, yeah.
27-9.
Had a little streak of good stuff.
Well, they made to the national championship, right? So,
yeah, I think I was in Vegas for that.
2012-13, they still had Brad Stevens, but they didn't have Gordon Hayward. But they were a good team, yeah. They suck now, so give me that game next year. All right. Penn State projected starting lineup. Jalen Pickett will start at the 1, run the offense, 6'4", had 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists against Illinois in December. He's killed them the entire time. Can't wait for him to not be at Penn State anymore. Then they have Cameron Winter at the 2. Drexel transferred double-digit points twice in the last 12 games, not doing a whole lot of scoring. Probably wishes he was still at Drexel putting up like 20, even though they weren't going to make the tournament there, I'm sure. It's one of the worst conferences in the country. Illinois obviously beating them in the NCAA tournament a couple years ago by the final score of 78-49. So he is now at Penn State. Andrew Funk, guard, 6'5", 41% from 3. He's made 77 of them. If you go back to the game in December, he pretty much made the 3 that essentially ended the game just because it's like 1 second on the shot clock or whatever, inbound, drills a 3. He was 6 for 9 from 3 in that game at 20 points. And also you got to look out for Miles Dredd, who hasn't been starting but was 5 for 9 from 3 against Illinois and makes a lot of threes. Although you look at the game they lost in Nebraska, he was 0 for 6. So we'll see how many minutes he plays tonight.
Bergie says that Illinois used to open up with Butler. So
do it again.
Mark says we're due for an East Coast roadkill. I agree. Embrat says we need to do some spanking this week for sure.
When was the their Nebraska is not East Coast, Minnesota is not East Coast, Wisconsin's not East Coast. This is really one of the big chances here to get an East Coast East Coast victory.
Can't do it at Rutgers.
Yeah, Texas.
You do it in Maryland.
Texas was not a roadkill, but it was an East Coast victory. So there you go.
That's true.
Illinois elite on both coasts. You look at what they did in Vegas, pretty solid stuff. Very nice.
Is Vegas on the coast?
Well, it's Western. So,
okay.
You know, I usually think that West Coast or the terms that we use for East Coast and West Coast is kind of just anything that is this way, anything that is that way. I don't give a shit about the word coast. I mean, that's ridiculous.
So Nebraska's West Coast is what you're saying.
No, that's not far enough. I would say Nevada, Arizona is kind of where I would start to just say West Coast. I mean, I don't know why we're getting technical here. Seth Lundy.
I don't know. Killing time.
6'6", 18 threes in the last 4 games for him. So another guy. They got 3 guys right here that'll make the 3 plus multiple in the.
I know a guy that would love Seth Lundy on his 5-man rotation.
It's just a waste of a pick, certainly, no doubt. I'd like to see him match up against Azuolas Tubelis, which is what the matchup would be in our hypothetical Countdown to March Madness number 2. Check it out. It's uploaded
check that
yesterday. Certainly. And then the center is Keba. I'm not even going to try the last name. 1 start in the last 5 games, so he might not even start tonight. But I feel like they're going to want somebody to guard Danger since Illinois is going to have Danger starting in this game, which he wasn't last time they played them. Let's see. Ken Baum. Adjusted offense, Illinois 49th, Penn State 20th. Adjusted defense, big gap here. Illinois 17th, Penn State 115th. Adjusted tempo, Illinois 82nd. And you know that Penn State wants to slow you down in the half court, 306th, and just let Jalen Pickett back down whoever he wants. So that's not great. Overall, Illinois 21st, Penn State is 55th. Advantage Illinois in the metrics, advantage head-to-head Penn State by 1 billion. So in the first game. Players to watch.
Players to watch. I am going to go with Dane Danger. Penn State really doesn't have a big that can match up with him that well. Keba's 6'10",
He doesn't play that much. Yeah.
Doesn't play that much. Plays like 14 minutes or something. And then they're 5 guys that have the most minutes are all guards. So I think you feed Danger, let him do things. Hopefully, he is efficient. And then I went with Jalen Pickett because Illinois has to find a way to stop Jalen Pickett. I don't know who they're going to have guard him. We kind of talked about this yesterday.
Coleman?
Just talking. Yeah. I don't know. Do you put Coleman on him?
I mean, he is 6 inches taller,
I think that Coleman might be the best matchup against him just because his length can maybe hinder him a little bit around the basket, but I really don't know. But yeah, Pickett's literally leading points, rebounds, assists, and steals for Penn State. So you got to find a way to shut him down, and you got to keep the guys off the 3-point line. I know that you're going to give up threes, but you can't have guys go 6 of 8 and 5 of 7 and that stuff. So
you also need to remember that Penn State is a team that's not going to let Illinois get out and run. Like, they don't even try for offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
They're 363rd in the country, which is last in offensive rebound percentage. So they're getting back on defense every time. So Illinois needs to have the half-court offense that they didn't have the first time they played. And I think this is a Brad Underwood special, once again, in this game. Run some stuff, run some nice sets. I think you do try the length on Pickett and see if it works. I mean, we do talk about how much Coleman can be backed down and pushed around a little bit in the post.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's going to have to take it. I don't think it can't be Epps or Shannon. I don't think that would work. I think you got to go with Meyer or Hawkins, and I'd probably prefer Hawkins over Meyer in that case. So I'd rather – I don't know. Would you rather let Pickett get his, or would you rather let them toss threes up? I think you probably just let Pickett get his.
I mean, that's what Illinois want. Tough twos, right? No threes, tough twos. So I think that they do. I think they let Pickett get his and keep him off 3-point line. But
toss Luke Goody into the fire against Pickett?
Yeah, you just, like I say, it's not about so much him getting it. He's going to score 20, right? It's him making those plays that hurt you enough to not win a game. So
also, Illinois was totally confused on the defensive end against them in the first game, and Illinois is also playing a completely different defense now.
Steve says I would challenge Coleman or Rogers to shut down Pickett. Yeah, I think we see a lot of Rogers in this game guarding Pickett. Gary thinks that Illinois should be rated in the top 25.
I just don't think those November wins correlate to the current poll.
Yeah, I don't care that much. You look at Illinois, 3 of their last 4 wins were against the bottom of the Big Ten. So, and then they play Iowa and lose. So I don't think Illinois deserves to be in the top 25 personally. And I could care less.
Top 25 sucks. Yeah.
I could care less. So
my players to watch: Terrence Shannon Jr. Need him to make some shots, get to the rim, make some plays. And then I'm going Andrew Funk for Penn State because if he makes more than 5 threes, I think Illinois probably loses. So
they need Andrew Funk to have the game that Cam Spencer just had, right?
Yep.
So
matchup wise, in terms of the starters, disregarding the centers, what are you doing on the defensive end overall with Pickett, Winter, Funk, and Lundy?
I mean, I think you got to put Epps on Winter just because of the size. Pickett, I don't know. I think you put Meyer on Lundy and TSJ on Funk.
Probably. I do worry a little bit about TSJ trying to keep up off the ball, and Funk's going to be moving all around.
I could see Coleman on Lundy. Then you put TSJ on Pickett and Meyer on Funk. But I don't think Meyer's quick enough to guard Funk. I think Meyer. I don't trust Meyer to guard the other team's best shooter. I'm just going to say that.
Do you think that Penn State tries to pick and roll Illinois to death for fun?
Yeah, that's what everybody's done. That's Illinois' biggest weakness is the defense against the screen and roll. So I do think they do that. Like I said, Illinois figured it out against Rutgers, but Illinois looked terrible against it in the first half against Rutgers. So
practice makes perfect, and
that's right.
they need to practice that.
And that's why we're predicting a W. I got Illinois win this game 72-64. I just think that Illinois is a completely different team than when they played the first time. And I hope that these guys are fired up to go on this revenge week of Penn State, Indiana. So
there's usually a
spoiler alert. I got Illinois beating Indiana. If you watch the countdown to March Madness, that was one of my upsets. So spoiler alert.
Spoiler indeed. I feel like there's always a time in the season where Illinois, under Brad Underwood the last 3 years, always has a couple of huge wins in February or early March. I think this could be the week. I don't know if Penn State's a huge win, but Indiana obviously would be. But this is a big opportunity to do so. You got to win this game. Obviously, you feel much more comfortable going into Indiana on Saturday if you win this game. I was going to make it like a 2 or a 1 point game, but I'll say 74-67. I feel like Illinois doesn't really win like 1 or 2 point games. Doesn't feel like it. It always feels like they kind of stretch it out late and win by more than they should or win by less than they should, which is Ohio State, Rutgers, they won by less than they should. Nebraska, they won by more than they should in the second game. So, 74-67, Illinois wins. And, it would be good to get a win, get to 9-5 in the Big Ten.
Yeah. And I believe we're going to do a watch party tonight. Right?
Yeah, I'm going to be pissed during this. If they give up 3, it's going to be annoying.
Shout out to my wife that said I could do a watch party on Valentine's Day. So
that's true. That's a good point.
Gary says, what? Illinois just knocked Rutgers out of the top 25. First off, Rutgers was 24. Yeah. They lost to Indiana and Illinois this week.
Yeah.
So
also, Illinois is behind Missouri and Northwestern anyway in the poll to get in. So, and Missouri should probably be ranked.
Which, I mean, who cares if Illinois is 24? And then, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No. Does the AP poll matter? Okay, from a principle standpoint, not an actual impact standpoint, does the AP poll matter more than the net does in terms of from an integrity perspective? Because I don't even think it does. The net is terrible, but I still think the net is a little bit more accurate than the AP poll because the AP poll is based upon
guys just looking at scoreboards and saying, "Oh, this team lost. Let's move them down."
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we want to talk a little bit about the Big Ten, seeing how Purdue just lost to Northwestern. Completely opens up the Big Ten. Illinois got a shot to win it now. So,
I mean, this comment here, the AP poll definitely matters less, but I'm saying from the perspective of accuracy and how each is perceived, I feel like the AP poll doesn't matter at all and nobody really cares. But I feel like people perceive it differently than the net because the net is just a
poll
train
is
wreck.
One of those things that I get to post on Twitter that we're 23rd in the nation. Woohoo!
Yeah,
I don't think anybody really cares.
I think the only thing that matters or people care about is probably being number 1 is pretty cool. So, way to defend number 1 Purdue. You lost to Northwestern. Jesus. But I think also it matters for programs that haven't been when Illinois first got back into the top 25 under Brad Underwood, I think we cared about that.
Yeah. Zach says, let's get more consistent as a team before we worry about ranks. Yeah, that's the thing. Take care of business this week, and then Illinois deserves to be ranked. But until they can prove that they can beat Penn State, who they got murdered by at home, and they can go into Indiana and have a game with Indiana, who's playing really good basketball right now, then you can worry about maybe being ranked. But beating Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Ohio State does not deserve you moving up in the rankings. I'll just say that. So, so Purdue plays Maryland this week, right?
They play Maryland and
and
Michigan,
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
So Maryland should be a good game, hopefully. I don't know.
Maryland, it's hard. Maryland is a hard place to win, as we all know.
Yeah.
And they beat Indiana at home. They took care of Penn State. I mean, Penn State literally shot 12 of 26 from 3 and lost. So it can be hard to win there.
Yeah. Indiana, of course, it goes Purdue at 12-3, Northwestern 9-5, Indiana 9-5. Northwestern, of course, with the big win. Indiana has beat Purdue, Rutgers, and went on the road to Michigan and somehow snuck that game out. So Indiana's looking a lot better, kind of what people thought at the beginning of the season they would be. So Bergie says I'd be elated for a double bye in the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, I think that's kind of the goal here, is to get to the double bye. The problem is if Illinois doesn't get the double bye, they have no head-to-head wins against most of these teams. So they go from 5th to 9th, which is kind of crazy. So what is the minimum Illinois needs to do down the stretch to hold on to a 6 seed?
5-2.
Yeah.
I think it depends on who you beat.
Yeah,
if you go 5-2 and you lose to Indiana and Purdue, you're probably fine.
Probably good, yeah. And then win a game in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
Jay, what's going on? Need revenge on the Lions from last time. Yeah, we're going with Illinois winning this. So we're going to do a watch party tonight, probably be live about 5:59.
Oh, please.
On YouTube. So if you guys want to come by, watch the game with us, or watch the game, come on by.
Yep.
And we'll see you soon. I don't know. I'm not an outro
guy. We'll certainly do that. Yeah.
We will really mess that up. Sorry.
Our show sucks anyway. We'll be back tonight, like you said, and then we will do a post-game, pre-game situation or recap preview is really more accurate for episode 147 later this week. And we'll see everybody tonight for the watch party, and then we'll watch the game, and hopefully they win. If they don't win, it's going to be very annoying. So, okay, bye.